And we're live.
We are live.
We are. It's another week. It's another zero detraction. And I know in our last episode, we opened it with both of us feeling a little bit cranky. And we commented on it here. So what's the verdict this time? Are we feeling better?
I
We
think
feeling
I'm
worse?
feeling a little better for sure. I think it's we're here on a 3-day weekend, so we're excited to be recording. So we're obviously like pumped to be here today. So it's not as much of a chore, I guess.
That's right. Everyone should keep in mind that the inertia, the momentum was pushing toward no zero detraction this week because we're recording on a holiday. And yet, we're here in the studio for you.
We are indeed.
We're here in the studio for you. That, and we have a little fun with this.
Are we here for them or are we here for us? I don't really know.
It's probably not worth breaking that down on the air. So we are. So we're here for an ironic topic today because, as everybody knows, if you've been listening to for any length of time at all, we have been on a sort of trend for the last, I don't know, four months or so, where we've been co-hosting with AI, co-hosting with Cass and with Nova, our AI companions that come along here, and they've been designing some games in real time. And so we figured a little self-reflection without actually self-reflecting was in order. And so we're going to talk a little bit about whether AI makes an improvement in your business model. That's going to be our topic today. For an edition that we are calling the AI Will Fix It edition of Zero Detraction. Now, before we dive into the game that Cass has queued up for us and reacting in real time as we usually do, maybe a little groundwork is necessary. Like there's the obvious why we're talking about AI in 2025, but actually, why are we talking about this concept of will AI fix it?
Awesome. Well, so what comes to mind for me is oftentimes we're seeing nowadays, AI is certainly table stakes in the startup ecosystem and probably in most, competitive ventures, right? And so as we're thinking about AI, though, is oftentimes we're seeing startups position that as the reason their startup is successful, even though that's like the way you just have to play the game. And so really what we hope to decouple here is part of AI is the tech and the tool that enables some leap in value for your customer, which is the foundation of your business model. But your value proposition can't just be AI itself. It's what it's actually enabling, because your customers aren't actually just purchasing a tool because it's AI, because that's all tools these days. It's actually what it's doing for them. It's allowing them to save money, save time, have customization, a variety of different things, right? And so we need to understand what that ultimately unlocks. And when we really uncouple that, right, is what are those? How does it solve those needs, wants, and fears that they're ultimately trying to have solved for? And so we got to look at those components of it. And so the other side of it is, can we actually, develop the AI that we're trying to do, and what's the cost effectiveness of going down that particular path?
Yeah, and I'll that's a great setup. I'll throw in one other thing, which is that oftentimes we have fake AI. And I don't mean fake AI in the like 2015 sense of fake AI. I mean fake AI in the sense of like they're just plugging into ChatGPT on the back end and then acting like this is revolutionary. And that's just not at all defensible. So we want to make sure that if you are pitching AI, that you are doing it solidly. Now, one little caveat. So Cameron, you mentioned AI is table stakes, right? Which means that, but that's implying is that it's not whether or not AI is part of your business. It is. It's table stakes in 2025. At some point, in somewhere in your business, AI is going to play a pretty big role. And what role it plays is going to depend on the specifics of your business and what you're trying to do. But whether AI should be part of your pitch, part of your value proposition to either investors or to customers, that is what's based on whether or not it's actually adding value either to the end customer in and of itself, and like the central value proposition is enabled through AI, or alternatively, whether the AI itself is producing a greater value of investment for your investors. So, but if it's not doing one of those things, then it's AI for AI's sake, and if it's not at all defensible, then what's the point? anyway.
There we go.
Whew.
So what's the
All
game we're
right.
playing today?
So we're going to play we are going to play a game of the same title here. So the AI will fix it game. And here's what Cass has set up for us. So Cass is going to give us a startup concept, a very 2025 startup concept. And then the AI usage as would be described by the founder. So this is how they're using AI. And then we are going to discuss whether that's an innovation, an imitation, whether the AI is creating value or just masking product market confusion, whether the AI is doing something meaningful. And we're going to add in, for a little extra fun here, a delusion score. So how diluted is this use of AI on a score from 0 to 10, where 0 is not at all diluted, surprisingly solid, and a 10 is should be illegal in several markets. So that's
Several
that's
markets,
our
not all of them, just in several of
in
them.
some it's like, this is like, where, we did things that were illegal in several states. That
But in that one state, that's our beachhead. That's where we're starting.
That's right. We're just gonna get legislation
That's where the
passed in all
scams
the other
start,
ones.
right?
That's where
Exactly.
the scams all the way down. All right, let's fix it with AI, Cass. You ready? You ready, Cam?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, here we go. So here's the startups. This is their quick pitch. We are building an AI. Yes, I stumbled through the first few words here. Let's get that out of the way.
AI will fix it later.
We'll fix it in post. It's fine. AI will fix it in post. We're building an AI-powered hiring assistant that screens resumes, predicts cultural fit, and auto-generates interview questions. Okay, so AI-powered assistant screens resumes, predicts cultural fit, and auto-generates interview questions. So their AI usage, so it's a GPT-4 Turbo for parsing the resumes, custom embeddings based on the founder's proprietary hiring rubric, and interview questions generated based on predicted personality fit from a LinkedIn profile scan. And this is the Cass has given us some founder juice. I wasn't expecting this, but here's the founder juice. We're not just optimizing hiring, we're transforming talent curation through AI empathy.
Ooh. Sounds like some BS to me, but well, I mean the AI empathy component, that if like that's the tagline, we're the AI empathy, and they're training it through or leveraging ChatGPT to do this. I guess I would want to figure out how they're what conditions they're using to build empathy. But I think part of it is they said they're trying it to their culture. So there's obviously a bias in what they want in terms of the empathy versus just holding empathy for where people are at in their particular journey. I also, one concern that immediately comes up for me is LinkedIn is really hard to scrape. And so they're using one of the hardest tools to go and scrape. So I think, I just not sure how that's actually going to be feasible in terms of the technology. But, there's a lot of these out on the market. So in terms of AI for recruiting and application review. So I'm not sure that there's much of a moat related to them just leveraging an existing technology and training their own GPT within it. I don't think there's a ton of defensibility there.
Yeah. Wow. So there's some things to like here. In concept, right?
Yeah.
So the initial pitch, like an AI powered hiring assistant that screens resumes, predicts cultural fit, and auto generates interview questions, I don't have necessarily a big objection to that. In theory, I'm not sure it's valuable, but I don't have an objection to that in theory until we start getting into the details. So GTP4 Turbo, so again, defensibility is an issue here for parsing the resumes. Then custom embeddings based on the founder's proprietary hiring rubric, which okay, and then interview questions that are based on predicted fit from the LinkedIn personalities. what I'm actually most concerned about here is that we're just like finding a way to massively scale bias in hiring.
For sure.
um,
But under the guise of cultural fit and all these other, removing bias, even though it's perpetuated.
well, and that's where like there's been this trend for a little while where we've been hiding bias under the guise of cultural fit, and now we're just going to like turn that over to the AI, which is already going to have some issues with bias, and we're instead of solving for the, and then we have like bringing this proprietary hiring rubric. I don't know, man. I think we're gonna have an awful lot of people of color without jobs. That's what I think this is gonna end up with here. So, to be a little bit reductive about it. So I'm not a fan of this application on the surface. I also think that it's technically not very feasible and not very defensible. So for those
Yeah, and I mean, I
reasons,
guess
I'm out.
is that a huge? I mean, I guess if it's a corporation that's doing a lot of hiring, but just even from a demand side, is it that much different than all the other tools that are out there? Like, it doesn't seem
Right. All the bigger corporations are already screening resumes through a tool that uses AI, right? So, and then predicting cultural fit, I don't know what to make of that, but that sounds bad.
Yeah, I agree. So from a like AI will fix it 0 to 10 on
Our
the
delusion score here. What are you going to give it, Cam?
I don't know. It's between my rules no sevens, so probably I'll go an 8 on the delusion score.
An 8 on the delusion scale. Ooh, man.
I just think, I mean, I think there's multiple layers from truly a demand, but also like technically, and can that be done if they're using LinkedIn, and then also just, obviously all the cultural things that didn't land well.
Yeah. I know my instinct is to give it a 7, but since we go under the no sevens rule, I think I'm going to bump it up to an 8. I think I'm going to agree with you. I think I'm going to bump it up to an 8.
There we go.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Cass. Let's do another one here. Let's do another one. Round 2, the AI Oracle for Managers. So here's the description from the startup. We built an AI-powered dashboard for middle managers that gives them daily leadership tips, employee mood predictions, and team performance forecasts. I mean,
who's buying this?
Employee mood predictions. Like I don't even know what you do with that information.
Is it just like it like goes through all their Instagram and
it's
all
just
the
like
things that they've recently
private
Cameron's
Slack messages
on his Spotify has been listening to so and so artists. He must be feeling this way.
Man,
it's just pulling all of
just reading vibes. The vibes in the room are not good.
Read it one more time, because I want to react properly.
I think it deserves another read after that response. Okay, we built an AI-powered dashboard for middle managers that gives them daily leadership tips, employee mood predictions.
That's not horrible. Well, the first part, but yeah, keep going.
And team performance forecast. Yeah, it says the AI Oracle for managers. Not
Oracle, like the corporation, like an oracle that's a predictor,
like the Oracle of Delphi.
Yes,
right. Like somebody glancing into the Palantir, right? Like that sort of thing. Okay, so here's their AI usage. Sentiment analysis from Slack and email activity. We actually got that right. Okay. Daily nudges powered by GPT prompts, like tell Anna she's doing a great job today. So the AI, I guess, is telling the managers which employees to reach out to. Performance forecasting based on tone, emoji usage, and meeting frequency. I have a lot of questions about that algorithm. All right, founder justification. Here we go. Most managers aren't trained. We use ambient data and AI nudges to make them emotionally intelligent in real time. Okay, so can I share two things here?
Sure.
So I want to share two things. Okay, so here's the first thing. The first thing for me is that I do want to share that by and large, the data does show middle managers suck. Like that's actually not controversial, right? And that middle managers are poorly trained, and also the people who get stuck in middle management do tend to be not the highest performers, right? So like that's to over time, right? Not at any one point in time, because you can pass through middle management on your way up, right? But like those who spend their career in middle management usually aren't high performers. And so just on average, not offending anybody out there, but like that's so there's actually a lot of research on this in like organizational psychology and in HR about that phenomenon. So I wanted to just like at least acknowledge on the like baseline level here that saying like, okay, middle managers aren't trained and like they're not very emotionally intelligent, aren't trained on how to be good managers, don't know how to manage people very well. That I can like from my experience and from what I know, like I actually think that that's a real problem. So I don't want to. So I want to acknowledge that at least a little bit. And like the second thing that I want to say about this is that a lot of people question AI because AI is a machine and it's fake. And so there was a study, I think it was early in 2024. It was either early 2024 or late 2023, and this was a study of what the number one use at the time, at least the number one use of ChatGPT was. Do you know what it is? What it was let's say about 1 year ago? What was the number one use of ChatGPT?
Asking how to write a message about someone who lost a loved one.
It was not, although it was asking medical questions. People just ask it medical questions. It's the number one use of ChatGPT at the time. And so this group of researchers wanted to assess the performance of ChatGPT in answering medical questions, right? It's interesting. That's what people are using it for. So let's find out how it does. And so they did a double-blind study where the participants did not know whether they were asking ChatGPT or asking one of those physician chat services where you're just chatting with a real physician. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't know. And then they took the responses from the chat, both from ChatGPT and from the physicians. And then the other side of the double blinding was when those were evaluated by physicians and other researchers, they did not know whether the responses came from ChatGPT or came from actual physicians in the chat. And then they assessed it on accuracy and reliability and a number of other factors. How do you think ChatGPT fared?
Better than the physicians.
So on average, and this was a year ago, right? So this imagine ChatGPT's gotten a bit better since then, but as of a year ago, it was performing more or less the same as a physician. Some it did better, some did slightly worse. But there was one standout category where AI kicked physicians' butts every single time. Do you know what it was?
Empathy.
Bedside manner. That's right. Bedside manner. ChatGPT crushed physicians, and it wasn't even close. And like anybody who spent time in the medical system here in the United States doesn't have trouble believing that. Like some people love their doctors, and that's fine. There are amazing physicians out there, like obviously, right? But by and large, bedside manner is a common criticism of those in the healthcare profession. So I wanted to couple those two things together, right? So like you say, middle managers lack those kinds of skills. ChatGPT is actually pretty good at it, right? So compare those two things together, and like that seems like on its surface, I'm like, I buy the premise. Excuse me. So I wanted to just to say that before I thoroughly roast everything that we just read.
Do it.
Did you want to go first? Since I just did this
long
preamble.
No. I like it. Keep going.
Okay. So like sentiment analysis from Slack and email activity. First of all, Big Brother, that's not going to be good for culture. Let's not do that. Okay. Like that is not going to be like, that is the least emotionally intelligent way of bringing in emotional intelligence into the workplace.
Right.
The daily nudges powered by GTP prompts, like tell Anna she's doing a great job today. Like assuming that that you could get to those being reliable, I actually don't have a problem with that, right? That's just basic coaching. And so cool, that's fine. And like giving them daily leadership tips, that's fine. That's not gonna be a big pain. You're not gonna get money paid to you to give daily leadership tips to a middle manager, because their boss could just assign them to read, the 7 dysfunctions of a team, or
Nine
or the 9
successful. Go ahead.
The 9 things successful people do by Heidi Halverson, which we mentioned on one of our, I don't remember if it was Zero to Traction or in our office hours. Some conversation in the last couple of weeks.
That was being recorded somewhere.
That was being recorded by someone somewhere. So I do think that was last week's Zero to Traction. I'm pretty sure, because it was in the object. It was in our
notes.
Frivolous thoughts. Yeah. But nobody's gonna pay money for that as part of the solution. But like, okay, that's interesting. Performance forecasting based on tone, emoji usage, and meeting frequency. I have a lot of questions about the ability of that algorithm to work. And like, there's a lot of heavy lifting being done by the word performance. And so I don't know what we're actually meaning here, and like how we're actually going about the process. So one of the big issues that I see with middle management is in defining and tracking goals. Like actually doing actual goal setting. And so a lot of middle managers will do really terrible goals because they don't know how to create things that really matter, and they know that something needs to be measurable. So they create a measurable metric that's really not an indicator of performance. It's an indicator of activity that's loosely related to the thing that they want to increase performance on. And so that, like,
you see that you see that in the way that things designed, because it was measuring like output in terms of number of meetings, which might not, maybe you want to decrease people meeting more often, because that actually leads to more work, right? Or
exactly.
more product being done. Yeah.
Exactly. And so the idea of like unleashing AI on that, like, when there's that premise there, that if that premise is wrong, the AI is going to get carried away with that, as it should, right? And that's going to take you in, I think, a dystopian Severance-like future.
Well, the interesting thing for me was that, like, thinking of some of the employees might be using, AI to generate their emails or Slack messages to appear a certain way, even though their own sentiment isn't that way. And so the AI is reading the AI message to say, oh, well, like, JDM seems to be really happy based on the tone of his emails or the exchanges he's having on Slack. But that might not actually be the case. And so I think it kind of might lead to like not clear insights into that. But I think the tying it to some of the like goal setting, or like actually defining the goal that matters and how do we actually measure this, could be an interesting thing. And then that actually, like, having that be a touch point where, hey, follow up with JDM related to achieving this particular metric that we've equally set, might be more valuable.
Totally. And like, I just realized another thing that was kind of sitting wrong with me about this is that this is all about finding what's underneath the surface,
right,
to bring in emotional intelligence. But that's the problem. The management problem is that it was underneath the surface. And like, this isn't fixing that, right? So like, the conflict is an inevitable part of a team. And conflict is a sign of a healthy team. A team with no conflict is an unhealthy team, because that doesn't mean that they don't have problems. It means that they're not telling each other about the problems, that they're telling their spouses and their bartenders about the problem, but they're not telling each other about the problems that they're having, which means, and that's going to directly impact performance and not only in culture and everything else along with the team. So like, we're creating a tool that addresses the symptom, but not the actual problem that's underlying it, which is that these problems were not accurately addressed. Like, just one like slight pivot on this. Like, let's say you were to take all this stuff and say, we want to actually train founders to be better at this stuff. So what we're going to do is introduce like a meeting agent that they can add in, their AI coach, right, that comes in and that basically like uses that conversation to provide performance tips afterward for that manager to help them do better in those conversations, to figure out what they may have been hearing or missing or whatever else. That's just part of like as that training is used for individualized assessment, just as you would have for, in the sales field to help sales representatives do
Right.
better.
Yeah. Well, and tying that's actually one of the things that you're seeing more on the related to the first pitch that Cass threw our way, was in like interviews, was seeing like were you asking more questions, or were the style of questions different based on who you're interviewing and having those conversations. So there's a lot more to be learned, and when you kind of have it in some of those interactions to like unravel what actually that root cause is. So I like it. So on the delusion score, I mean, I think this is inevitable, like not inevitable, but I think this could certainly be done. Will it land as well? I think the big brother thing is certainly something that is in question. But I think I'd say it's a 5 or something like that. Like it's middle of the road
Oh,
for me.
oh
Were you
man.
going big? You were going big.
I Yeah, I'm like I'm at the 9 or 10 level. Like I think
Oh
this
wow,
is
this is
just
worse than the interview one or the application.
I think so, because I some of the problems we had to do with like defensibility and so forth. Like whereas here it's just like, yeah, they see a real problem, but they're not actually addressing it. They're addressing a parallel problem, and they're doing it in a way that's big brothery that I question whether or not it could even work. And I don't know. All right, well, Cameron rates it a 5, and I'll give it a 9.
So we're back at a average of 7, so we'll go 8.
So I'm actually there we go. All right. I'm just being honest with Cass. I'm saying Cam gave it a 5 and I gave it a 9. Cam says they love the split. Cam says, maybe, and you say absolutely not. Get this out of my tech stack.
I'm not saying I would like procure it, but
All right. You ready for round 3?
let's
For
do
a
it. I
final
think
one?
this is our last one.
Yeah. All right. AI for home chefs. I'm excited already. Okay, here we go. We built an AI kitchen companion that helps people cook with what they already have. Just scan your fridge or type in what's lying around, and AI suggests gourmet recipes optimized for health goals, taste preferences, and cultural authenticity. AI usage: computer vision plus GPT-powered recipe generation, LLM chains that adapt recipes to dietary preferences in real time, voice-activated step-by-step instructions with emotional encouragement when users mess up.
How
And
will it know?
the founders claim it's like having your grandma, your trainer, and your favorite YouTube chef all in one app. You want to
I don't know.
start?
I don't know. I feel like I've seen so many of these things pitched that never go anywhere. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think like in theory, it sounds like it would be a great thing, but I don't. In practicality, I've never heard someone really go anywhere with the thing in your refrigerator that tells you how much stuff's left, so then you can come up with a recipe. I just don't think that um, that happened. I don't think. I think we think it's a more urgent and severe pain point than it truly is for a lot of those target customers that they're looking for. So, um, I mean,
Yeah.
if it was like free, maybe someone would use it. But if it's something that you had to pay for, I don't know that that's going to get much traction.
Yeah. I agree. I think I've seen this probably 6 or 7 times,
Pretty much at
at
every
least.
startup weekend or startup challenge.
Yeah, we got some version of that, so it's probably more than that. But monetization is always the hard part, to your point, because it's not a severe and urgent pain. And this is the kind of thing where like you can do a lot of this with ChatGPT just already. And in fact, I do something like this with ChatGPT. I just did it the other day. We were like heading off to an impromptu like a barbecue at my brother's, and it was before he had his engagement party this weekend, which was super exciting. But because we had family in town, they're like, "You come over the night before, and we'll just do like a quick little gathering with just the family." And so it's kind of last minute, and my kid like had a late nap, and so it was like we didn't have a lot of time, and so I'm like, I want to bring something, right? I don't want to, I don't want to be the guy who brings nothing. So of course I asked him what I could bring, and he's my brother, so he said just yourselves, and I'm like, that's not gonna do. And so then I'm like, okay. So he told me what he was making. I asked ChatGPT what he's making, and I said, give me some suggestions or something I can throw together really fast. And I just kept it high level just to see what it would do. Some of it wasn't interesting, some of it was. And I said, okay, let's put these couple constraints on it based on what I had and what I could do. And it ended up suggesting making a watermelon based salad. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And it was because I had almost everything, and the one thing that I didn't have was watermelon. And so what Cass told me was that I could just pick up all pre-sliced watermelon at the grocery store. So like I could but I had the aged cheese. I already had some some mint that was fresh growing, and some cucumber, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, all I have to do is just do this. I'm like, this is great. And I didn't ask it for a recipe because I don't need a recipe for something. I just need you to tell me give me some inspiration. And then I modified it to my own gains and kind of made this thing. And so like, for those of us who like do need that once in a while and not every day, which takes away this like severity and urgency thing, like we have this solution for it, right?
Right.
I remember a while back when I think it was the Samsung refrigerators had the cameras inside, and I don't know if they still do. It was supposed to like take the inventory of what's in your fridge, and so then they were going to add on this like layer of AI stuff, and like of course it doesn't include your pantry, so that's kind of weird. But I don't know, like you always end up with this like there's this adoption step where somebody has to actually get into the system what's in their pantry, and how many people's pantries are organized sufficiently well that an AI scan of what's on the surface is really going to pick everything up.
Yeah, you do the Q or the scan the barcode and put it in, scan the barcode.
Right, like yes, exactly. And then you're just literally working grocery store inventory at that point. It sounds terrible. Like I have enough trouble keeping my wine list up to date, like for what I actually have, and like that's just because I forget to mark when I get to add a bottle when I get a new bottle, or mark a bottle as consumed when I open it. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, this one's just not interesting to me. Is it like delusional? I think on the like monetization side, from like executing on some of it, I think if it's just purely, recipes that are in what's in your refrigerator, I think it's certainly doable. But yeah, I think the like biggest trap for a lot of these is developing the tech. This is one that like seemed like they were building their own kind of infrastructure, but it was like, then who's actually, do you have the revenue streams to be able to actually sustain that going forward?
So what do you rate it on the delusion scale?
Well, yeah, I guess I would love to hear yours, because I'm not sure if I was doing the delusion right. I thought from kind of a technology component of it, like I think this one seems like it doesn't have actually like a purchasing customer from my end. So
yeah, I mean, like, see, that this is the thing. I don't think it's delusional, like, or at least that delusional here, right? Like, you and I have no faith in this actually turning into anything, right? But like, but it's not. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's monetizable. I don't think it's defensible. I don't think it's solving severe energy pain. But I don't think it's crazy. And I think that if they start with just this as an idea, without actually building the damn thing, and then go start talking to customers and exploring this, I think they're going to quickly discover that, and maybe they'll pivot into something more interesting. So like as an idea that somebody comes up with that lacks the experience in the space that we have, I don't think it's crazy. Like I would personally probably rate this something like a 5.
Fair.
I don't know. Maybe even a 4. Like I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't think it can work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from the business model, I don't think it'll work for sure. So I'd say right around the same thing.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Just submitting that onto Cass to see what we get. All right. Well, that is that. So we move on now, right? Now we move on.
Let's
I
do
feel
it.
like it's been like a week since we've done this. Um, Awkward pause complete. Now let's move on to frivolous thoughts. What's funny about that is that I'm definitely like I use AI to get rid of long pauses in post.
Yeah.
So that joke is going to be in there, and the long pause probably isn't.
Shoot. What
You
about
got to
the
watch on
AI? What
YouTube if
about
you
the
want this
AI
stuff.
will fix it earlier? Will that be the same thing?
Maybe it might be. Yeah, we might have those two jokes might have gotten obliterated by AI. AI will fix it indeed.
There we go. I love it.
So it wouldn't be, of course, Zero Detraction if we did not leave you with some frivolous thoughts to detract a little bit from the trough of sorrows that is the startups that have passed through our episode today. So, Cameron, what do you got?
What's frivolous for me? Well, I guess what's been real top of mind for me is we're almost moving back to our house here, so that's kind of been top of mind. But I got to do adult Legos the past 2 days, where I got to put together a organized living closet. So it's always fun to start to assemble the pieces, see it come together, but then when you have to actually hang all the things on the wall, that's when it gets serious. So it's like you're actually putting all the pieces together, and you're trying not to bang your walls and all of that good stuff. And so we successfully have the closet complete, and now get to hang all our wardrobe in there. And yeah, looking forward to moving back in. But that's been, I think we just calculated, I think we're on like 18 weeks of being out of our house. So, so it's been funny, like packing up
That's a
our
run.
clothes, because a majority of it was winter clothes. So we had very little of our spring clothes. It was like all these, jackets and sweats and long pants, and it's like, man,
And how many different puffer jackets, puffer
good
vests? How
question.
many different puffer vests?
Too many to count. But good thing, we have a more organized closet, so I can better organize where those puffer vests go. But now it's just the mantra t-shirts that you get to indulge in, I guess.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything nearly as exciting as an 18-month begin to return from your own little personal COVID lockdown away from your house, or inverse COVID lockdown or something.
Yeah.
But I'll say my frivolous thought is I did last week get the brand new version of the Whoop.
Ooh, me too.
Yeah, Cameron, you got one too. All right, so cool.
Are
So
we sharing our scores, or?
Oh yeah, we are not. So and like pros and cons. So it's a new one. Don't really have to pay for it as long as you renew. Although the prices did go up a little bit per month, so like that's a thing. But one of the things that's like a pro and con about the Whoop model is that you don't like have this device charge for these devices that you have to replace every year. So like I've had my Whoop for a couple of years and it was still like perfectly fine. But this month happened to be my renewal month and they happened to release the new version. And so like, cool, right? Like I didn't have to pay anything. I just got the new device and I just keep paying, on what I pay, which is great. But all the bands, the chargers, everything is now different. So I really now have one band. I have one band left now that I can actually use with this. So no more changing colors or anything for a while. So that part does suck. But they added a bunch of new features into the software, which I'm fairly certain almost all of which will make their way into the version 4 of the Whoop, the old version 4. So maybe that won't work out as well, but they're actually kind of cool to see some of these, with the exception of the Whoop Age. That feature is terrible, highly inaccurate, just a train wreck of a feature.
How so? How so do you think it's inaccurate?
I mean, it's just obvious. It's just obvious, Cam. We don't even need to talk about why my Whoop Age is inaccurate. That's just not even, It's not even a thing. Um, actually, so what happened was, I got it on Wednesday, right? Wednesday night, and so that was the first time I put it on, was on Wednesday, and then I think Wednesday, and then I had worn it, over the course of a few days. Come Saturday or something like that. So it's been like I've been wearing it for 3 days. It tells me that my whoop age has gotten older.
Yeah, based on your recent habits.
But based on 2 days, like my whoop age is increased based on 2 days, in which, by the way,
Well,
like
go ahead.
I didn't get as much recovery as it wanted, but my strain was fine. Like, I don't know, man.
It has your pace of aging.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably based on not sleeping as well, and something else, that your pace of aging increased over that period of time. Therefore, you were
But
older.
that, like, this is where we get into like the difference between like statistically significant and clinically significant,
Mm.
right? And like, the setting aside the actual accuracy of this, but if we just assume it for a moment, right, that like assuming that there's statistical significance on what happened in those 2 days, there's not clinical significance on what happened between those 2 days. And so like that appears like the wrong time to measure.
Mhm.
Right? It's, like, when I give a talk somewhere, right, I'm pretty critical. So, but the night after that I give the talk, like that night is the wrong time to evaluate it, because I'm gonna be really critical. I have to, like, a couple days later, reflecting on it, that's the right time to do the evaluation. And so like there's a timing that makes sense to this. And like 2 days to say like, oh no, you're gonna die sooner, like that, based on the last 2 days, just is a little bit silly, if I can share that.
Sure.
But anyway, so, but otherwise, device is cool. I do like that. One of the things that I will say, hands down, is a fantastic improvement is the battery life.
Yeah, that is true.
Like the battery life was just a couple of days, like 3 days, maybe something like that, before, 3 or 4 days. And I think I'm at 50%, 50 something percent from having it charged Wednesday. So like pretty good. Pretty good. It's going to last definitely more than a week. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So that's my frivolous thought. Do you disagree fully with my diagnosis of the new whoop?
Well, I think it's contextual. So, so I think it goes enough. If the scorer said something different, you would feel different about it.
Maybe so, and vice versa, is what I'm gathering here.
Yeah, probably. So, it's all good. It's all good.
All right. Well, that is all the time that we have for this episode of Zero Detraction. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, time is the one resource we can never get back. Appreciate you sharing a little bit with us for a slightly longer than normal episode. Not our longest by far, but putting it as more than 40 minutes, like that's a little bit longer. We did promise that we would have our referral program up. And it's probably coming in the next couple days. We'll let you guys know if you're subscribed to us on Substack, which you definitely should be. It's totally free. You'll get an email from us when we launch that. So make sure you're subscribed on Substack. It's zerodetraction.substack.com. Super easy, and it's in every show note. So hit that up and do that. Otherwise, find a friend, tell them about it. Leave us a rating, like, subscribe wherever you like and subscribe. Just find some way to help us out. We're here on a holiday for you today.
Woo! Yes, indeed. Well, thanks for having us in your ear. And I heard Zero Detraction is good for increasing your lifespan. So continue to listen in, and that could be for your startup as well as just in general. It's good for the health. So get your weekly dose of Zero Detraction and share that painkiller with other people as well. So.
Zero Detraction will definitely increase the whoop age of your startup, and that's a good thing in this case. All right. Well, Cameron, thanks for joining, even though it's Memorial Day.
Of course. Thank you all, and we look forward to the next one. So thanks, JD.
All right.
Cheers.
Peace.
Bye.